Welcome to Wine by the Case,
where we uncork legal insights one bottle at a time.
So I think we should start with the wine because this might get a little gross.
And again, the wine is we like to theme our wine to our topic. So
no, let's wait. I want to give credit where credit's due. Okay, so Chris themes the wine to the topic.
True.
She gets all the credit for that. She finds the wine, she mixes the topics, and that's all her.
Well, thank you. And again, you all know I love my Oregon Pinot Noirs, but this one is a very popular one. It is a Seven Deadly Zins. So it is a Zinfandel from Lodi. Very popular area in California, a little less popular than Napa and things like that. But you see this one on restaurant menus all the time.
Where is it? Is it above Napa, below Napa?
It's below Napa, a little bit more in. So less coastal, more inward. So when you think of California, you've got Napa, which is not coastal, but it's still closer to the coast than Lodi is. And then you've got Monterey and Carmel, which are coastal.
And how much was this and where'd you get it?
So this is usually ranging from 24 to 35, depending on where you get it. This is an easy one to get from ABC or Total Wine.
Okay.
Because you really can't miss by getting a Seven Deadly Zin when you go to a dinner party or something like that. It's just a
I don't like Zinfandels generally.
I like Zins.
And this one smells really
funky.
I'm smelling prunes. I hate prunes, people. I feel like I might have, you tasted, I feel like I may have some childhood trauma about prunes. Although I did not have grandparents that ate prunes, because I know like there are grandparents that ate prunes and that was a thing. But
this one's more tanniny than I thought it would be.
Okay, let me try
it. It's very jammy.
What year is this?
It's a 2021, which is not a bad year for Zin.
The smell is repulsive to me.
See, to me, the tannins, I feel like my teeth are being sucked dry.
Okay, so this is what we're talking about. So what we're talking about is there has been an uptick in throat cancer. And there's been an uptick in a lot of cancers. And they're trying to figure out why that is. But there's been an uptick in throat cancer. There's been some celebrities that have gotten throat cancer. Kirk Douglas has been very open about his struggle and fighting of throat cancer related to it. So recently, fairly recently, I would say, it has come out that there may be a connection between throat cancer and oral sex and the
HPV virus.
HPV virus. And so, you know, Chris and I, because first of all, we kind of have dirty minds, or maybe I have the dirty mind and Chris just placates me. But we're talking about from a legal standpoint, we were like, oh my gosh, this opens a whole floodgate of
potential litigation.
Let's just say that we'll do it from the girl's standpoint, right? Like just say as a female, you were doing the old BJ and you go, not a spouse, but you go out on a date, you like it's hot and heavy and you decide you're going to do a little old BJ, old school in it. And then all of a sudden you're diagnosed with throat cancer. So I was like, could you sue for that?
I'm like, why not? I mean,
Chris is like, why not? Bring it on.
Because I'm going to go back to being old school here. I mean, people used to sue for herpes.
Right.
Because they said, well, I had to get it from you.
But I think that was different because I think that they said with herpes, you knew, or AIDS, because there were also lawsuits about AIDS.
Yep.
You knew you had herpes or AIDS, and because you went out and you didn't inform the person and
but
you had unprotected. But a lot of those cases were they knew.
But the reason I say that is because HPV is really somewhat new science.
It really is.
Anybody who has younger children, 10 and up, you're hearing a lot about the fact that HPV is out there and what do people want to do about learning if they have it, learning how to protect
whether
themselves.
to give the vaccine to your child.
Right, but beyond the vaccine thing, the fact that they are now finding it earlier,
right,
and people in their early 20s, mid-20s, male and female.
Okay, let's say that they knew that they had HPV because I think it makes it a little cleaner.
It does. No pun intended. I guess somebody who's a swallower is going to make it cleaner.
So the man knew he had HPV and let the woman swallow and give him head. I don't even know. I'm not a medical doctor, so I don't even know if you have to swallow. But let's just say let's just say she swallowed.
From what I understand, you don't have to because it's still the bodily fluid exchange.
Okay, but it makes for a better story. She swallowed and okay.
Well, for him it does.
Well, you can swallow right now if
Exactly.
you like. Okay, and it does make it a better story for him. So she swallowed, and then it comes out that she ends up years later, finding out that she has oral cancer. And let's just say there's the statute of limitation has not blown.
Well, because
and
no pun intended or pun intended.
Okay, and the statute of limitation hasn't blown. And do you think she could win this?
But let's go back to the statute of limitations being blown. Doesn't that depend also on knowledge?
Well, I don't know because it's not a fraud.
Right, but it's still the whole notion of when did you discover?
Yeah, that you blew him?
Well, she knew that. But when did you discover
that he had HPV? Okay.
I think that's different than when did you discover you had cancer.
Okay, so let's just take that out of the mix because this is lawyer arguing. Let's just take it down to the bare bone. Okay, I'm not going to stop.
Bare bone.
All right, go ahead. Let's just say she swallows. I just want the whole visual. She meets this guy in a bar. He's hot. They go into the bathroom and she blows him and swallows. Okay. Now, years later, undescribed amount of years, she finds out she has throat cancer and she says that I have only blown one guy in a bathroom and swallowed, so it has to be him. Only one. It has to be him. Well, we got to narrow it down, right?
We do.
Okay, are we going to bring in a bevy? And so this did not happen in Miami. This would have happened, I don't know, in Idaho. Okay, so
Well, there's nothing else to do but have sex.
But so she sues him. Do you think that there's any chance in hell she could win?
See, I think she's going to have a major proof problem because, again, she's got to prove that's the only guy and that he knew he had HPV because that's the whole notion of he caused the harm. And most people in their 20s wouldn't necessarily know that they had HPV.
Okay, little slut.
I would think that...
Oh, you mean he wouldn't have known,
Right.
Not that she...
Right.
Okay.
He wouldn't have known because I think back to, university.
Okay, let's just say he did.
And the infirmary doesn't necessarily test for
Let's
it.
say for this hypothetical, you're right. Going back, nobody was testing for it, but let's let's kind of shorten it. Let's just say that it comes quicker because we don't know. Okay, it comes quicker. Stop, Chris, stop. What I'm saying is, I'm not sure.
The diagnosis is released earlier.
Okay, I'm not sure how long.
Release the Kraken.
From getting the. Stop it. We cannot laugh like this. I'm not sure how long it takes from the time you have contact to you having actual
throat cancer.
Yeah, okay. And I'm not sure about that. But let's just kind of say hypothetically, we could narrow it down to the fact that it was this one particular male. Mm-hmm. Do you think, and that he knew he had HPV, right. But obviously he could not have known she would have gotten cancer from that, right?
Exactly.
Because remember, they're saying they think there's a link.
I
mean, do you think there's a cause of action and she could get
anybody with $425 United States of America can file a lawsuit.
Okay, but let's back up, Chris, because I know you told me about a crazy, but you told me a crazy story about a workers' comp situation.
Here's one of the best stories ever told.
I love this story, so I'm going to sit back.
It's true. It's true. This is not we're making this shit up. In the world of work comp and employment law, you are told things that are better and true than anything you could make up. So in this case, we had a agricultural employer. So we had a packing house. So the office was separate from the packing house, which is normal. I mean, you got all the electronics, the fax machines, the copiers. I mean, again, we're talking back in the day, so you had faxes. And so you would take the fax down to the packing house to do, this is what we were told we're ordering. Do we have enough to order? So this guy would, from the office, go down to the packing house and with his little piece of paper and say, I need to count. So he would take the fax down there to go, let me count to make sure we just got an order in for 100 cans of citrus. We got 100 bottles of citrus.
Okay, but what happens?
So he goes down and he starts to have a little bit of a flirtatious relationship with one of the people in the packing company. So then they would go to the little... no, not yet. Not yet. Because they would leave the packing house and they'd go to this little shack. And they would have...
I have to say that was very polite of them to leave because I really wouldn't want them to have like SEX next to my orange juice.
You know, again, it was polite.
Yeah, it was.
So
okay.
they would leave and they would engage in Bill Clinton style sexual relations with that woman.
So there was oral
Daily.
sex. Wait, did
Oral
they have...
sex, vaginal sex? There may have even been anal sex, but he got
in a shack. Can we back up? I need a...
shack.
In a shack, okay.
Sexually transmitted disease.
Do we know what state this was?
Florida.
Oh, of course.
Of
course.
So he gets a sexually
It's
transmitted
hot,
disease.
and there was no air conditioning in the shack.
No, not in the packing house either. So he gets a sexually transmitted disease.
She gives it to him.
Yes.
She did him dirty in the shack.
Obviously.
Was it a she shack?
No, it was not a she shed. So that would have had air conditioning and, wallpaper.
It was a he shed.
It was definitely a he shed. He got the head on the he shed. So
oh my God.
They go back to
We're on a roll today.
They go back. He's back in the office. He gets this diagnosis of having a sexually transmitted disease. He turns in a work comp claim. Honest to God, he turns in a work comp claim.
God bless his soul.
For the treatment for the sexually transmitted disease.
How could he determine that sexually transmitted disease in the he shack shed came from
That was the
her?
only relationship he had. Apparently, he was not exactly a desirable commodity.
He wasn't a player.
So, of course, the carrier did the right thing and said, hell no, we're not paying for this. You were on your picadillo. You were on a frolic and a detour, they like to use in work comp.
Is that really? They use that? A frolic and a detour.
I love getting to say that.
Is that really a legal thing? A frolic and a
detour.
Okay, we have to regress a little later after you finish this to tell me where frolic and a detour came from.
Work comp comes from the 40s, 30s and 40s. So
a frolic and a detour.
A frolic and a detour.
Who was the first person to frolic in the detour?
I don't know, but
okay, so
the carrier denies the claim.
Wait. Is there an exemption under workers' comp at any time in the history? No, for frolic in the detour.
Yes, because you were not within the course and scope of your employment.
Okay.
You were on a frolic and a detour.
Okay. So how are they saying that is not a frolic and a detour? Because it was a frolic and a he shed?
Nope. They said everybody in the office, including his supervisor, knew exactly what was going on, and they never stopped him. So therefore, him taking the little fax down and taking the little gal into the he shed was now something that was known.
Oh my God.
Approved
Chris,
of.
this is some BS if I ever heard some.
It's not, because they all knew it.
No, it doesn't matter.
Because what do you do when you've got an employee who's, by the way, on the clock for having sex?
Okay, but them all knowing it is different than the supervisor knowing it or the owner of the company.
The supervisor knew it. The supervisor knew it. Absolutely knew it. Testified, yeah, we knew he went down there and was getting a blowjob.
On the clock.
On the clock.
Not on lunchtime.
Not on lunch, because he was taking his little fax.
But how did they prove that it wasn't during lunchtime?
He didn't clock
Yeah,
out.
but you don't have to
You
necessarily.
do. You're supposed to provide accurate records to your employer. So he goes down with his little fax. He gets it. He comes back.
How could they prove that's when he was getting banged?
Because everyone saw it. It's not hard to see the little path, the little she shed, he said, and to watch him walk back from it. She goes her way.
Okay, I gotta say that's some bullshit.
Well, the reason it isn't is because, again, work comp is a no-fault statute. In other words, you can do stupid shit and still get paid. Here, the supervisor's knowledge, the office manager's knowledge, the fact that they openly joked about it, and no one told him stop, and no one told him you can't get paid to have a blowjob.
I mean, this is kind of a good gig for a guy if you're getting paid to have a blowjob. There are no words.
There are, again, yes, there are a bunch of words. You're just not saying them out loud. But here is where...
I'm usually never speechless, and I'm speechless.
In the world of law, that knowing or should have known, I deal with that in employment law all the time when people are working off the clock and you get an email from them at 12:19 a.m. You're like, okay, you shouldn't be working at 12:19 a.m. So in my packing house case, where they saw him trot down with the facts, told him, go check. And then they saw him trot with the little gal pal he had into the shed, unair-conditioned shed. And then he'd come back 20 minutes later. What was he doing?
She was a horny little bee, right?
That's the whole thing.
Listen, I'm always cold, but that ain't First of all, I'm not having sex in a shed.
But
a shack.
She may have felt intimidated.
Well, let's just talk about this. Maybe
she may have felt intimidated and pressured because he's in the main office. She's in the packing shed.
She wasn't in that shed. She traveled to that shed.
The packing building.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not pleasant. Unair conditioned.
Okay. Can we talk about standards, girls? Okay. Men, they're like greyhounds. You're like a carrot. They will chase you to the end of the world. You do not need to be having sex in an unair conditioned shack he shed.
So, but
this is my public service notice.
Your PSA. Your PSA for the STD.
So anyways, but you know what I have to say, when I saw that, I was wondering if this was going to actually stop men and use it as an excuse for not giving women oral sex.
Again, so we switch it. The whole notion of there seems to be, at least based on the statistics we're seeing, the people who are
listen,
but the notion of, she mentioned Kirk Douglas and a few other people. It's the males that we're hearing about with esophageal or,
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's women. I'm curious if it goes the other way with the throat cancer. Mm-hmm. I mean, okay, I'm going to get crude. I mean, I do think it's well, I'm just saying, I'm not a medical doctor. Disclaimer. Okay, so I'm just saying, like, if you've got... Don't be tricky when I say this. If you got your head full on in there, okay, and you're like going to town, I think there's more exposure than if you don't swallow and you're sucky. I am just saying from a purely toxic
exposure. So I'm going to go back to the world of work comp for a second. In work comp, if you have an exposure, exposure cases now require, since 2003, an epidemiological study. And I love to get to say that word because it took me a long time to be able to say it with finesse. That means you, as the person who gave the oral sex, will have to prove that that environment was such that you were exposed to a toxic substance for work comp.
Your he shed.
I
think right there is a toxic exposure. I mean, she could have mold exposure. She could have heat exposure.
Yes, that was one of the questions. Whether the heat exposure was a problem for both of them, because the fact that the whole office knew that for 20-something minutes, every time he walked down there with
whoa. He lasted 27 minutes every time?
Pretty much. It was his entire...
Oh, my God.
It was like a half hour. Yeah.
So she was in that heat, and she let him go 27 minutes?
Yeah.
How old was she? 19?
I have no idea how old she was, but he was definitely middle-aged.
Well, this would make sense because she could last longer in the heat. She was 19, and apparently he was a lot older because he just wasn't shooting the shot sooner.
He was definitely
older. If he was 19, that would have been...
Well, it would have been
She would have just dropped her clothes. We would have been done. Round one.
Round
ding,
one.
Ding, ding.
Round one. Then round 2 and 3 would happen.
So this was not a heavy topic. It was a little yammy.
And maybe even a little yeasty.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm giving this a 3.
I was going to give it a 3 as well.
Okay.
It is not my favorite. I like a Zin, but this one just doesn't do it for me.
Cheers.
Cheers.